The marriage vow says you'll love each other in sickness and in health. But what if right before your wedding, your fiance's body starts locking up, stiffening? She becomes so helpless, you often have to carry her around. Would you stay? Bob Brown has discovered a medical mystery wrapped in a beautiful love story.
They are classic images of a love story, snapshots of a young couple beginning to share a life. Christie Tunick and Brian Mendenhall met in Las Vegas when she walked into the club where Brian was working behind the bar. Christie says she knew that night that he was the one. Brian shared the same feeling.
She was just different from other girls that I have ever known or met or dated. She had this glow about her and just made you feel good.
They got engaged when she found the ring that Brian had placed in a fortune cookie. Growing up, Christie was constantly active, a cheerleader, a dancer, competitive and full of energy, and always on the move. Her next step was to plan her wedding with Brian. Instead, her life 3 years ago was interrupted by a devastating medical condition, a mystery illness that caused her muscles to lock up and has left her barely able to walk. And it is Brian who carries her. Hoping to find some source of help for her excruciating pain, he keeps a video diary of her days.
Christie has woken up to tremendous pain.
Christie's story, in many ways, is now about a search for a diagnosis so she can resume her life with Brian. This is one of the last times she was able to dance at a family wedding. The symptoms that struck her afterwards were disabling.
I couldn't breathe and I couldn't walk. And I tried to stand up and I was really stiff. I was really confused.
Time and time again, the muscles in her body were freezing, and treatments with muscle relaxants and painkillers offered no long-term relief. Her eyes sometimes drooped shut. She attempted to prop herself up so we could talk.
So I'm going to need Brian probably to come in and help me lay down because I can't move.
But she eventually had to lie down just to finish this interview.
You feel as if your body's being crushed.
Yeah.
In
I feel like, I don't know, like something's on me right now. I feel like this is prison. I mean, I'm a prisoner in my body. I'm a prisoner in bed.
She spends most of her day in this room and keeps a simple list of priorities on the wall.
Get healthy enough to be able to leave the condo, stay positive, and always keep Brian as my first priority.
I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for him.
Brian passed up a promising career as a respiratory therapist in order to work in a restaurant.
Well, hello, everybody.
Which gives him more time to spend with Christie. Every day, he helps manage her pain.
He's so calming to be around, and I'm probably gonna start crying.
Lately, she's been waking up, being locked up in severe pain, and she's crying and screaming. So I immediately have to get up and get her medication. By around noon or 1, she's able to move, or if she can't walk, I carry her.
I have zero quality of life, and Brian doesn't have any life either. He just takes care of me and goes to work. I feel like I've ruined his life.
That constant uncertainty has left them desperate for a diagnosis. And doctors have offered one possible clue to this mystery illness, that it could be a condition called SPS, which stands for Stiff Person Syndrome.
Hi, Dr. Murison?
Yes, this is Beth Murinson.
On this day, we arranged for Christie to have a Skype video conversation with Dr. Beth Murinson of the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, who is a leading expert on SPS and its symptoms.
Would SPS cause somebody to have problems breathing? I stop breathing up to 10 times an hour.
There are people that have difficulty breathing with SPS.
In fact, the disease can manifest itself differently in each patient, and most doctors have no experience identifying it.
Your average neurologist or even your primary care physician may only see 1 or 2 of these patients in a lifetime. of work. It's a quite rare disease. What you will see is that people will stiffen up to the point that they can't reach out or defend themselves if they're falling. And the traditional description has been that they fall over like a tin man.
Since I've really started the treatments, it's been under control.
Yes.
And
Most patients are women, and although there is no cure, many patients can be treated.
I couldn't really walk. I was just walking and shaking at the same time.
Aracheli Musakabuma was diagnosed in her late 20s, around the same age as when Christie's symptoms appeared. She's been given a treatment involving regular infusions of antibodies that has proved effective for some SPS patients, and she is now planning her wedding. As for Christie and Brian, just 2 days ago, this medevac flight carried them to Cleveland, after the prestigious Cleveland Clinic agreed to attempt the comprehensive diagnosis that Christie needs so badly. The hopes they have for some kind of resolution are connected, in a way, to an alarm that Christie had programmed to remind her to take her medication. It caught our attention when it went off during the interview.
That's my alarm for medication.
That's the alarm for the medication? Is that the Josh Groban song that comes up?
Yeah.
The alarm played "You Raise Me Up" when it was time to take one of the large doses of muscle relaxants that doctors had prescribed. It's the song she hopes someday to dance to with Brian at their wedding.
I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be.
For this young woman who grew up performing, that would be the greatest dance of all.
If I could walk down the aisle tomorrow, I would. As soon as they get me well, I want to have my wedding. I want to have a family.
I made a choice to stick by her side, and I am, and I will till the end. And I tell her that.
Stormy seas, I am strong.
You haven't ruined my life. My life's fine. My life is great with you. My life is nothing without you. Remember that.
To more than I can be.
If you'd like to know more about Christie and Brian and even help them get through this ordeal, go to 2020's webpage at abcnews.com.